Winter 2024 has arrived, and with it has come a plethora of new shows to watch, ranging from beloved sequels to the highly anticipated solo leveling anime. So, as per tradition, we have decided to take a look at all the new shows and assemble a list of the best new anime you should check. Part of the Heroes Party, Rude finds himself unable to find the one thing he so desperately needs: a cure to his sister's illness, a disease that could only ever be cured through an item. To add even more insult to injury, this said item may or may not be found in one's hope, since his party was already prone to labyrinth explorations. As fate would have it, that hope was only short-lived, because on a day slightly different from usual, the hero made to lie on Rude's shoulders. Mind you, Rude's status as no more than a tank had deemed him as nothing but a hindrance in the eyes of the hero. Using this as the perfect excuse, the hero was successfully able to kick him off the party. However, Rude head back to his sister. On his way, he meets the one girl who could utilize the rarity known as an appraisal to finally reveal what Rude was all about. With a diabolically high defense skill that goes all the way to 9,999, our MC had just been granted the biggest revelation of his life. Just what will this man do now that he knows of his worth? Number 9. Sasaki to Pichan. Being a corporate slave is by no means a stress-free labor, and no one relates to this more than Sasaki Tomokazu, a single old man who works his ass off only to end up with more. Realizing his unfortunate state, Sasaki yearns to fulfill the long-form void in his heart. But little did he know, his life was about to change on a whim only to find a dark secret. The bird happened to be the reincarnation of the ability to travel between worlds along with other magical abilities. Although Sasaki finds himself to be completely overwhelmed, he's not willing to give this up. He's now to would Sasaki truly be able to persist without any difficulties? Number 8. Cherry Magic. 30 years of virginity can make you a wizard? Yoshi Adachi, a man who has lived for 30 years without ever experiencing the subtle art of intimacy. The situation may seem pathetic, but the latter makes much. Despite his unhealthy lifestyle, our MC isn't a complete loser considering how he pays his own bills. But the main issue isn't the bills, but one of his co-workers The story revolves around due to some misfortune, she was born starless, and that to a tamer. Luckily, her too long, as her weakness was revealed in due time. This had caused an outrage in the family that once adored her, causing her father to disown the little girl. Now, how does a child survive on their own? Ivy wasn't as ordinary as you may think. She had vague memories from her past life, which helped her survive this far. As she continues with her new life, she meets a cute but odd slime, aka the only monster she could tame. In hopes of finding some comfort, Ivy makes use of her skill and befriends the slime. This marked the start of an incredibly heartwarming journey. The two had begun to survive on trash that was abandoned by others, but that's not all there is to Ivy's dangerous yet fulfilling adventures. She does happen to be much more powerful than what her family had forsaken her for. Number 6. The Foolish Angel Dances with the Devil. In a world where demons and angels exist as natural enemies, we have Akutsu Masatora, a demon in search of suitable candidates to assist Hell in its fight against the angels of heaven. Akutsu had chosen a high school as his base of operation and enrolled as a student. There he finds his first target, Lily Amane, the girl he had been assigned to sit next to. But just like any demon, Akutsu too has a heart as he ends up falling prey to her beauty. But little did he know that all of this was a ploy, as Lily was no human, but an angel in disguise. What had made the situation even dire was the fact the infamous demon had developed feelings for an angel of all species. What will transpire as Akutu tries to rid himself of the overwhelming attraction he feels for this angel? Number 5. Villainous level 99. I may be the hidden boss, but I'm not the Demon Lord. We've all heard of stigmas like the one with a black cat or the proposal to not sing under a tree, but none is as ridiculous as the one Yumiella Darkness faces. After being reincarnated in an Otome RPG game, her dark hair becomes the reason why she's depicted as a bad omen. But that's not all, because she just might also be the hidden boss of the game. Blessed with unimaginable power and the ability to use dark magic, she trains restlessly. Her ambition is quite simple, not to become the last boss she's destined to be. Soon after, she enrolls in a magic academy where her level 99 status is revealed. This shocked everyone, as they only continued to witness her unmatched battle IQ and power. However, all would not always go as planned with the main heroine in the scene. Why? Simply put, after witnessing Yumiella's abilities, a suspicion was brought to light. A horrendous suspicion of her being the Demon Lord, which begs the question, can Yumiella truly avoid her fate? Number 4. The Witch and the Beast. The narrative opens up to an ominous yet intriguing world, a world that is home to two ferocious commodities. Starting with Ashoff, a man with a soft speech and a coffin strapped to his back, the one who commands black crows as if they were pebbles in front of their dictator. Then we have Giddo, a violent beast with long fangs ready to hunt all down. The pair had made their appearance in a town where a witch resides, a witch that had brainwashed her people to confide in her as their hero. This witch was a ruler, with badass tattoos imbued with the dangers of magic. But of course, they were already aware of the dangers of their endeavor. They had come to the town for one reason alone. Their creed said it all. Wherever a witch goes, only curses and disasters follow. They're certainly not here to play any games, and they won't hesitate to eliminate anything or anyone that gets in their way, for they are here to put an end to the witch. Number 3. Yubisaki to Rinrin.
Do you need help?
Though soulmates aren't looking for you, they will find you. This show entails a beautiful story of the encounter between a deaf girl Yuki Itose and a handsome stranger Itsumi Nagi. For starters, Yuki has always been deaf since birth, and sign language is all that she has ever known. She lives in a closed world and doesn't interact with others as much. On a day like any other, Yuki was asked for directions by a stranger, to which she panicked as she had no idea of what the man had mentioned. However, that is when Itsumi makes his appearance and helps the stranger. As he turns to the girls, the two instantly feel a connection and plan to go on a date later tonight. But Yuki's friend does not approve of this because she believes that this may lead to a really bad heartbreak. Would she be proven right, or would the two manage to get through? Number 2. Chain Soldier. Who doesn't enjoy an anime that's loaded with badass women? After Japan experienced a flood of portals that led to a different dimension altogether, things took a drastic turn. Each of these exits brought forward a new resource called Peaches, a unique resource that grants the recipient unnatural powers. However, the resource itself could only be of use to women, and thus an elite group was formed. The reason for this formation was relatively straightforward: to maintain the peace of the world. You see, the portals had another function. They served as gates for the creatures of the other dimension to follow through. However, our MC is your average high school student who just happened to get lost in one of these portals. Learning of his predicament, Yuki Wakuda calls out for help, and luckily his plea is heard. He's rescued by none other than the chief of the group we had previously mentioned, Hyoka Uzun. The girl immediately recognizes the boy's potential and asks for the unexpected, the unforeseen being to join the Anti-Demon Corps by becoming her slave? Number 1. Solo Leveling. Sung Jin-woo is the prime example of strength being something you find rather than being born with. Our protagonist managed to survive in a world where something called the Gate materialized. The materialization alone had caused the real world to unite with the concept of magic and monsters. Following this event, mankind was also blessed with superhuman powers to battle the so-called beast. Our hero was among the few chosen. However, he was blessed with very little when compared to his peers. And although he was stronger than the average male, his strength wasn't very useful against the beasts of the Gate. This alone had earned him the reputation of the world's weakest, as his strength was no more than a measly E rank, the lowest of the low. Now, without giving too much away, Jin-woo was seen carrying out a raid as usual. Getting hurt even by the smallest of monsters was an everyday chore for this man. However, in this particular raid, nearly all of his squadron was annihilated. Nonetheless, our MC managed to slip by abiding by the laws that were placed in the boss's room. Soon after, he had woken up in a confined room only to find himself now being managed by a system that may help him go from the weakest to the strongest man alive.